What's up guys, Syiler here and I am back with another video, and this time we're going to be running through how to utilize a class trial to get certain mounts a bit easier and what mounts you can get using a class trial. I'll also run through a little bit of info on those mounts, but it won't be a full guide on those mounts, just a little bit of information to help you along the way. So if you don't know what a class trial is, it's essentially what it says. It's a trial for a certain class. You can pick any one you want and you can kind of give it a go and see how you feel about that class in particular. It was brought in for the people who had a character boost so they could try out various classes and decide what they wanted to boost. And you can apply the boost directly to the class trial, so it goes from being a trial to an active character if you do have a class boost. It's also nice for people who want to start a new character but you're not too sure what you want to play or how the playstyle feels. You can use a class trial to get a better idea of how it does feel at max level. But in this video, we're going to be showing how class trials can be utilized for other things. They can be used to get certain mounts, pets, toys, achievements. We're focused on mounts here, but do keep in mind they have a various amount of uses too. So a class trial is a 110 character, and you are limited in some ways on how you can use a class trial. For example, you can only have 3 hours played time on it. That's actual in-game played time. Once you hit that, character will be locked and you can't play it anymore. You can only make 4 trials every 1 or 2 hours, I believe it is. And you can only make 8 class trials a week, but it's a dynamic reset, so if you made the class trial on Saturday, then you'll have to wait till the following Saturday before you can make another one again, assuming you did hit the 8 cap. So you do want to be making as much use out of them as possible because we are limited in some ways, but they definitely do help. So how we're going to use them is you put a class trial on a realm that isn't your main realm, ideally a low population realm, and even more ideally an RP low pop realm, because RP realms have a slightly different sharding to normal realms, so you are going to have a lot less competition there. One thing to note though is certain low pop realms do share their cross realm zone with other realms, so you want to find out online which realms do share with each other, because you could put a class trial on one realm, another on another, and you're essentially on the same realm because they share the same sharding. So do keep that in mind too when you are putting your class trials out there. To make a class trial, you'll pick your realm. You'll go to create new character, and in the top center you'll see this box for either new level 1 or class trial. You want to click the class trial. That's going to make a 110 class trial. You'll make it a whatever class you want. Druid and Monk aren't too bad to have because they have the Zen Pilgrimage and the Dreamway. It's going to give you a little bit more mobility to get around, but you also need to keep in mind that they don't have like the full Hearthstone, and it's not going to help a crap ton because you're going to be putting them in one zone realistically anyway. But it's one thing to keep in mind. Plus Druid does have the instant flight form, which is kind of nice in some situations, but realistically it doesn't matter too much. Pick your spec in the bottom left. You do need to pick a spec. Put in your character name, doesn't really matter too much. If you are in an RP realm, try to follow the rules and do have some kind of RP related name, and then log in. And you're good to go on that realm now with a 110 character. So once we're in, you can put your class trial onto war mode and non-war mode, and you will be in this little scenario. I would recommend instantly herfing out of the scenario. You don't have to do it. That will put you into Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and then from there you can be on your merry way and start farming mounts. So the first set of mounts up that I wanted to mention, quite commonly known for a class trial, but it's worth noting as well for people who don't know, is the kind of faction racial mounts. So say for example you're missing all of the dwarf mounts, you can make a dwarf class trial. You could head over to the vendor and you can buy the mounts. There's no leveling required, no reputation required. Only thing that is required is a little bit of gold, but once you have that gold it doesn't take much. You can buy all the mounts and add those to your collection. So if you don't have the racial mounts, definitely would recommend jumping over to a few class trials and getting them all, because that is going to be a huge boost to your mount collection. Next up is the Zandalari Warbringers, and these are mobs found in Mr. Pandaria. There's one in pretty much every zone, one in Jade Forest, one in Kunlai, one in Town Long, one in Dread Wastes, and one in Krasarang. And they all have one spawn location within those zones, so they're quite easy to find. And depending on which Direhorn the Zandalari Warbringer is riding on, say for example if he's on a Jade, then that will be the mount that he can potentially drop. So there's 3 different ones, Amber, Jade and Slate, and they have about a 5% chance of dropping from the Zandalari Warbringers. So it will take you quite a few kills to get them, but being able to make use of different zones and low pop zones is going to help a crap ton as well. I would recommend flying around, getting all the ones that are up, switching over to war mode, flying around again, and then once you're done with that, it'll be roughly the respawn time, which is about 30 to 50 minutes. So you could switch off war mode again and go for another lap, because war mode and non-war mode are kind of different phases. You will be wanting to keep in mind your play time on the character though, because it is about 3 hours. So you don't want to be wasting time, making as much use as possible. So if you kill them all within 20 minutes on both phases, you do want to take some time off the character. If you want to keep easier track of your play time on the character, I would recommend an add-on called Class Trial Timer. Link for it in the description below. That's going to give you a timer up on the screen, giving you an idea of how much time you've got left so you can better make use of that time. The next mount up is going to be the long forgotten Hippogriff, and this is a kind of event thing in Azuna. So luckily there is a portal directly to Azuna now with the new portal room, so you can click on that in the portal room. That's going to take you to Azuna. And the idea behind this mount is you need to click, I think it's 5 crystals throughout Azuna, and once you click them all, you'll be awarded with the mount. The tough part about this mount is there's a lot of spawn locations for the crystals, and there's going to be competition. If someone clicks them all before you, then you'll miss out and you'll have to wait for the crystal event type thing to begin again. So you'll want to, first of all, have a good idea of where all the crystals are. I would recommend doing some test runs, flying around and getting an idea for the crystals. And then once you're done with that, get yourself on these low pot realms, keep checking to see if the crystals are up. And once they're up, keep flying around, try and click them all, and get yourself the mount. This one's going to be a little bit of trial and error though, because once you get more familiar with the crystal spawns, you're going to find it a lot easier and faster to go around and get them all. But there is a lot, so I definitely would recommend familiarizing yourself with the crystals first, and then kind of trying to race against the time and beat the other people that are going for it. But being on a low pop realm is definitely going to help, because there'll be less competition, if any, so it's going to help a lot there. The next mount up is going to be the Grey Camel, and this comes from Camel figurines in Uldum, which is a Cataclysm zone. You're going to fly around Uldum and you'll find this tiny little Camel figurine you'll be able to click on, and it'll either turn into a pile of dust or it'll teleport you to like the phased little area. There you'll find a mob that you can kill. You'll kill that mob and you'll get yourself a mount and a title. And the nice thing about the Camel figurines is there's only one up at a time, and they have kind of a decent-ish respawn. So you can go around, you can get your Camel figurine, you can log off, and then you can come back roughly when they're going to start respawning again. And during that time, you could be checking on other realms, on other class trials as well. And that way you can kind of be controlling quite a few of the respawn timers, giving yourself a much better chance at getting the Grey Camel. The next mount up on our list is a little bit of a surprise that you can use class trials for it, but that is the Frightened Kodo. And the reason it's a surprise is because it's a 120 mount that comes from BFA, fairly recently in BFA 2. It was added for the Darkshore stuff, the Warfront stuff. But any character that is a level 40 and above, I believe it is, can go into Darkshore and have a go at getting this mount. Now it's going to be quite rough on a level 40 because you're going to get murdered, but on these level 110 class trials where you have flying, we're fairly safe. And the way the Frightened Kodo works is it can spawn in 6 different spots. It is only up for a few minutes though, and it has about a 2 to 6 hour respawn. So you want to be flying around, checking the various spots, logging out, and then logging to a different realm and checking again. And I think checking as many different realms as possible is going to be your best bet. If you have any other characters that you can throw in there, maybe non-class trials too, check those realms while you're at it, because it's just going to give you a much better chance of being able to find this mount. And you don't really want to just sit on the class trial and wait, because you're going to be wasting the timer. So it's going to be much better to jump between the different realms, giving yourself better use of the timer and a better chance of finding the mount. Just do keep in mind that it does despawn if not found within a few minutes, so you do want to be checking fairly often until you do get this mount. Next up, we have the Warlords of Draenor rares. There's a bunch in all the different zones, Frostfire and Gorgrons, etc. There'll be 1 or 2 different rares that will spawn, and when killed, they'll give a mount 100% guaranteed. So the ones that you'd miss in, I would recommend looking up their spawn spots, because some of them do have multiple. Flying around on the class trial, once again making use of war mode and non-war mode, and seeing if it's up. If it's not up, log on to a different realm, check again, and you should be able to get these fairly quickly. There isn't too much competition for these in general, so using class trials on these lower pop realms, you should be able to find these pretty quickly and tick off the mounts that you missed on your list and get that nice and done. I think the one in Gorgron, I think there's one over that have quite a longer respawn, so you are going to be waiting a bit longer for those ones, but in general you should still be getting them much faster than if you're on just your main realm. The final one up is going to be the Void Talent, and this is quite a tough one to get even using class trials, but essentially how this works is a portal will spawn somewhere in Draenor, across the various different zones. It does have set spawn locations, and you'll click on the portal, you'll go inside and you'll get the mount. But finding the portals is quite difficult because they're on quite a long respawn timer, and they're across all the different zones, so you're going to need to cover quite a lot of ground. I'd probably recommend using the class trial to fly across all the different zones, logging out and logging into a different one, but if you want, you could just park your character in one zone near some of the portals, check the portals, log out and go into a different realm. It's up to you. There's no real right or wrong way, but you could be sat in one location and it could be up in a different location, so you're basically missing out. But the other downside is by flying around you are wasting a bit of time on the class trial timer, so it's a win-loss in some cases. And it's up to you how you best want to make use of your class trials to try and get the Void Talent. So that is about it. Now there are some other mounts, like you can get Alani using a class trial, but that doesn't really help us too much because Alani you'll still need the crystals, or you'll need someone who has the crystals to be able to give the mount to you. So that doesn't help us really too much, but you can loot the corpse with a class trial if you do want to. And also I have heard people say you can use a class trial to get the Aeonax if someone else gets it and you're in the group. But I've also seen people say that that's a lie and you can't, so do keep that in mind too. The other final thing to note is class trials are consistently being changed and updated and, edited in some ways. So these mounts listed here might change in the near future, new mounts might be added, or it could be that people find some other methods of being able to obtain these mounts using a class trial. So do keep your ear to the wall so that you can find out more about class trials, the changes, etc. so you're up to date on how it's going to change for you basically. So hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, we do have a Discord server now, so if you want to join that, ask me questions, that's the best place too. Or we do some content as well, and I would like to build a community where we can do Glory of the Hero runs, get the different expansion mounts, and do some fun stuff together. So if you're interested, there's a link down the description below to that. And if you want to support the channel, check the description as well, there's a bunch of ways that you can help support me if you enjoyed the content. But either way, look out for more videos coming soon. Thanks for watching guys. See ya!